Taurus, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for November 21st to 27th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky. If you are new, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different, which means your sign might be different, and you'll want to watch this for the right sign. All right, so Taurus this week, another eventful week as it has been these past couple months. As you can see here in the transit graph, a lot going on. So we'll go ahead and break this down one by one. The most important thing, at least the backdrop at least, to this week is that at the beginning we'll be in the third quarter phase, which means a good time to initiate, all right, and take some steps towards whatever we're guided towards. And maybe a week ago you came to some awareness about some things, and so now implementing that this week. But as things unfold, we will be in the balsamic phase, which means there's this lowering of energy time. And so it's a good time to be reflective, receptive, particularly the second half, and maybe let some things go that are no longer serving us, that we might feel like we want to or need to let go of. But none the case, a lot of things are shifting and changing this week. It all starts on Monday with the sun shifting into your 7th house. So there is this focus now, I think, on relationships. I think there already maybe has been with Mercury here, and Saturn's been here for about the past year and a half. So it's been a more serious thing, and I think that's a great way of approaching it, taking this serious approach to developing new relationships and existing relationships. And through that, you can find that you can be building some long-term relationships here, and it might be on all levels. It might have to do with friends or clients or family relationships, whatever those might be. But the shift with the sun does suggest that there is the shift of focus now on expressing yourself through relationships. Also, maybe a bit of a emotional connection there as well. The sun does rule your 4th house, and yeah, with family perhaps too. The North Node is really helping you get in contact with your past, your roots, connections with your family, your home, and your health. So those matters, I would say, certainly on the personal side to life, it's really coming into the relationships, whether, again, it's family relationships or there's just more of that soul connection or nurturing or caring connection that can be coming through those relationships there. All right, so that's Monday. Then Tuesday, we do have Mercury. Sextiling up to Jupiter. So on a minor note, this is again suggesting maybe the relationships, maybe some opportunities there with Jupiter in harmony to the 7th house. Mercury does rule your 2nd and your 5th, so you could be maybe feeling a bit expressive or creative this first half. And maybe even some opportunities there with the financial or material stuff. It's quite possible. And this is a Jupiter in your 5th house really helping you do things because you're passionate about it, because you enjoy things. Or you enjoy it, or cultivate the things that are close to your heart. And so that's going to be continuing this week. There's some changes which I'll talk about with a square up to Pluto. But see those opportunities to express yourself, to enjoy yourself, and cultivate those things close to your heart. So that's a easy energy there around Tuesday, or at least an opening for that stuff. And then Mercury does conjoin up to Saturn in the 7th, again suggesting that there is this new chapter, as there has been, continuing with relationships. But here it's about really the discipline here and the patience and building things in the long term. Now it's a neutral aspect, so I think the more willing you are to maybe make some long-term plans, long-term goals, or just all in all, take this side of life seriously, I think it's a great way to start this new beginning with Mercury conjoining up to Saturn. This also is a new beginning about maybe taking seriously the financial and material stuff and your resources, as well as also your self-expression, a new chapter with that. But again, it's about enjoying things in the long term and how you can express yourself in a long-term sort of sense, with groundedness, with discipline, and enjoying those things with that discipline as well. So that's the conjunction. And then Thursday, we do have a very important aspect. It's going to basically be all week long. Jupiter squaring up to Pluto, very collectively significant. And again, this is the Jupiter in your 5th. Now, the square to Pluto does suggest that there might be a bit of this change needed. Now, the thing about squares to Jupiter is it sometimes comes across as easy or positive. But the challenge with that is sometimes Jupiter can make us a bit over-inspired, overconfident about things, and avoid the real meat and potatoes of it, the real deep truth that maybe needs to change. And that's what this is about. Pluto, the planet of facing our fears and accepting fears, but then once we've accepted them, making the change that we know is needed. It's suggesting that there is some of this deeper change that needs to take place in order for you to continue to cultivate this self-expression of yours. Okay, so it may come across as easy, it may not. I mean, I don't think it's going to be too challenging with Jupiter square, but it may just be uninspiring maybe. But the important thing to note with this is that this is supposed to be something that's changing deeply within you. This is Pluto, but Pluto in your 8th house, really emphasizing this whole deeper connection, which we'll talk more about here in just a minute. Okay, but here with your self-expression, with your interests, with those things close to your heart, and or, all of the above or one of those things, depending on how this has been influencing you lately. But I think fundamentally expressing yourself in deep ways, in open ways, with vulnerability and a willingness to face your fears and make some changes there. Okay, so with that approach, I think this can be a very constructive, very positive square this week. Now, as we get into Friday, we're going to have Venus then going over Pluto and then squaring up to that Jupiter. So Venus is actually kind of lifting this up. This is your ruler too, which means that you're changing this week. Very much so, I think, the second half. And again, it's with this deeper diving. I think with your ruler in the 8th house, it's just so important for you to be really understanding if there's any patterns in your life you can break free from, if there's any changes you can make, any fears you can face. And if it's relationship related, again, openness and vulnerability there. But really, it's just because it's such a good time for you to have more openness and vulnerability with life, all right? And have that deeper connection there and make the changes within yourself that might be preventing you or screening you, blocking you from connecting on that deeper level. So very powerful, I think, for you Taurans, and also be for Libras, who were ruled by Venus going over Pluto. It's this cyclical thing that happens about once a year, which is now suggesting major changes, major transformations with you. Okay, and I think this is about, again, what really matters in life. Okay, so with that, it does square up to the Jupiter. Again, I think it's all part of these changes, and the more willing you are to change, dive deep, it's all supporting those possibilities and potentials to express yourself. Now, as we get into Saturday, Mercury then trines up to Uranus. So again, maybe something new and different there with the whole relationship sphere, maybe with the finances, maybe with the self-expression. With those key areas, I think it's great to mix some things up, try something new and different. It might have to do with those aspirations of yours. It's been such an important time for you to cultivate your aspirations, personal ones, maybe even a sense of group and community, network. Could be supportive over the weekend of friends, can be an exciting thing. There might be some wounds regarding these matters, which is very natural, very normal. Again, involving those key areas, relationships, resources, and your self-expression. But know that it's all part of the process. And I think as a result, through the weekend, you're going to be feeling this rejuvenation, this freshness, the more willing you are to accept these wounds and really accept self and be aware of them. And through that, there is this healing that's taking place. And I also want to mention too, Venus does rule your 6th house of work and routine. So it could be a week of, particularly the second half, a week of making some changes with your work or with your routine. Okay, I think that's a sort of backdrop to it. I mean, fundamentally, you're changing, and it's all deeper in that level, but maybe making some changes there for your self-improvement. All right, Taurus, so the way I would sum up this week is that there's shifting, as there has been, I think, towards more focus on your relationships and new relationships in life, taking that stuff seriously with Saturn, all right, in this conjunction with Mercury and the long road, right, and building them. And you'll notice, too, that whether it's friends or clients or home life or whatever, this is about the big picture and doing the right thing, the grounded thing, the mature thing, if you will. But really, I think setting a new chapter with you in those relationships. You've got Venus in your 8th house. Things are supposed to be deep, right? Whether you're expressing yourself in deep ways or connecting to life on a deeper level, that's really facilitating the change that's needed right now within you to break some patterns, face some fears. All of this is, again, constructively or can be constructively helping you express yourself. In fact, it's a really good week to challenge yourself with your self-expression. Maybe it's with interests or hobbies, creative things. anything that's close to your heart, cultivating that. All right. So that's the square. And then, the transformation with self. And then over the weekend, maybe something new and different that can be healing and refreshing. All right. So Taurus, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. See you next week.